Theo, the theologian.
It's theologian, but don't say it I got a headache from what you sing. Anyway, this is a serious story. This is God I'm pointing to here, Osiris without the lower jawbones. I explained to you that before. You see, my head has got a cap on it like a pyramid. That's because I'm a fan of this wonderful God whom his brother killed. Now, over to my right is a canopic jar with God's intestines, his guts, what you call it. This you will see in many 15th, 16th century paintings. Canopic jar in the crucifixion scenes. That is because God died with his son. Sad story, but true. And you'll see in many of the paintings, you'll see Virgin Mary looking not at her son, but at her husband, the canopic jar. This is a story. But it's only a representational painting. You must understand this. She wouldn't actually be doing this, but how else are these artists going to explain? See, look at her, how sad she is. Looking at her dead husband. That's his eviscerated body, cut up as a representation. And once again, the canopic jar over his chest. Oh, what a story this is! Eh? But anyway, you'll see I'm reading a Greek Bible because it's Luke's version that really opens it all up. And right next to my hand, you'll see the upside-down cross. It's a very clever table I'm sitting at, by the way. Anyway, all right. But there's much more to the story. What really, truly happened to the thief, the good thief? Let's find out through the Virgin Mary's point of view, not mine, okay? Okay. What happened to God? Really? What happened to that thief? Okay, here's another great painting of the good thief being pushed into a grave head first. Notice face first, head first, and there's a hood over him. But also notice the neck. It's cut like a medical examiner cut it, eh? Isn't that strange? Because it's a corpse. It's a rigor mortis corpse. It's a corpse that's a substitute for a good thief. That's what this great artist is telling us. These bones are brittle, they're hard, and that good thief was taken down. His body was still warm, like Christ. So who is this really? Who cares? It's just a substitute. What we want to know, what the artist is telling us, is what really happened to the good thief. What happened to his still warm body. And in the Bible, it doesn't say that the thieves were killed either. Is this a story? What the Bible says is they break one thief's leg and of the other that was crucified with Christ. So even one thief, we don't even know if the legs were broken. Let's get the point of view, however, from the Virgin Mary's point of view. And remember, the Virgin Mary was Isis, who was also Mother Goose and Old Mother Hubbard. We're going to get it from Old Mother Hubbard's point of view, what happened to God.
Old Mother Hubbard went to the cupboard to get her poor dog a bone. But when she got there, the cupboard was bare, and so the poor doggy had none.
Down at the docks, the beds are placed, a wad of notes rolled in a hand. The floodlit track is center stage for winning hounds to take the stand. In old covert coats and trilby hats, the owner swan around the place. The tic-tac man throws out his arms, his thin mustache by the rail and looks at the sky, confused by the thoughts that stew on his mind. Alone by the track on Saturday night, gone to the docks. He stands and reflects. Gone to the docks, has no regrets. Gone to the docks.
Shabu, welcome. This is the last show of this series. There will be an epilogue, which I'll tell you a little bit about later. Anyway, what happened to God? If God was the thief, the good thief that was crucified with his son, Satan was on the other side, what happened to God? He was taken down the cross. God came in the form of Jacob with a bad left leg. He came to pay penance. What did they do with this good thief? Now, from this painting by Geertjan Toot Sint-Jans, this painting is supposed to be the good thief, but he's been eviscerated from behind. If you can see the mark going down his neck, which means, in effect, that this is a corpse. Rigor mortis has set in. There's a pole being shoved into his brittle bones because they can't stuff him in. So this is a substitute for the good thief. Geertjan Toot Sint-Jans is trying to tell us something. What is he telling us? He's trying to tell us that they covered up. They did something. They took the good thief, like a thief in the night as they were, the Romans, and took him somewhere. Now, by cross-checking the Bible and by a biblical place, which was a bone of contention for God, called Ashkelon, and a mysterious dog cemetery that was found there, where hundreds of dogs are buried. Many of these dogs, let me show you a shot of them, have jaws like they will tear you apart. I mean, these dogs were bred for killing. Let me show you what they look like. These are some of the dogs that were found at Ashkelon. Look at the jaws on that sucker. I mean, this is like alien. These dogs were bred not for beauty, as you can see. Look at the lower jaw. These are pit bulls, or dogs even more ancient and more terrorizing than pit bulls. I read you a little from the Torah, Psalms 22:13, about what God is saying about what they did to him. Many bulls surround me, mighty ones of Bashan encircle me. They open their mouths at me like tearing, roaring lions. My life ebbs away. All my bones are disjointed. My heart is like wax, melting within me. My vigor dries up like a shard. My tongue cleaves to my palate. You commit me to the dust of death. Dogs surround me. A pack of evil ones closes in on me. Like lions, they maul my hands and feet. I take the count of all my bones, while they look on and gloat. They divide my clothes among themselves, casting lots for my garments. So, even worse than what they did to Christ was what they did to his Father. Now, what they did afterwards was this. They transported from Israel 3 coffins. In one of the coffins is John the Baptist, which the Jews wanted nothing to do with, and they also wanted nothing to do with the 2 thieves. Now, the Augustinians, which are presented here by this man and his kind, and the St. Jerome people and their kind with the cane, wanted obviously to take care of the situation because they could own the power. Here are the relics. These are the bones of John the Baptist. This is the split thigh of God, who came in the form of a man that was like Jacob, and they are holding on to his bones. This is the beginning of the Hospitallers, the Augustinians, and the beginning of Europe and its coming power. Now, because these kinds of people took hold of this power, and the Jews didn't want anything to do with this story, and they were weakened because of it, the process and the evolvement of civilization came from this painting, which I will show you, to what we have only for the last 80 to 100 years. I'll show you the evolvement of the scene that I just showed you and to what happened in this century. This is the scene in the years directly after the crucifixion And these are the people, the Augustinians, the St. Jerome people, the Hospitallers, and their kind. And they knew that God was dead. And these are the coffins of God in the form of Jacob, Satan, and John the Baptist. And these people knew this information and kept it and held it in secret agencies. And what happened next, in terms of knowing that God was dead and that they lived in Europe, is what you're about to see next. For those of you interested in reading more about the dogs and God explaining his own being eaten alive, you can read Psalm 22:16, Psalm 22:12, 62, Psalm 62:4, 62:2 through 7, 35:57. God is speaking. He's describing how he's being killed by these dogs. Now, what happened afterwards to God, and behind me you see the Lion of St. Mark. This was once again Europe replacing the lion, which was representative of God, with their own lion, the Lion of St. Mark. Mark, who held back this information, and Matthew, who was a man with wings. So they made them both the kind of saints of Europe. Now, what happens is that God is going through his incarnations from the crucifixion onward, a presence in this world. Although oppressed, he is still in this world. This painting by Carpaccio shows St. George vanquishing the dragon, but the dragon is actually the Lion of St. Mark's Place, St. Mark Place, in Venice. Over here is Osiris, his pelvis, the broken thigh, Isis and Nephthys. These are the gods of ancient Egypt, which were oppressed and denied by the Europeans and obliterated by them. But they come back forcefully in this extraordinary painting by Rubens, which has nothing to do with anything for 15th, 16th century, except that the Europeans, the Augustinians, the aristocracy, and St. Jerome holding on to the skull, the head of Osiris, but as a rock, the size of a rock, because he beat his chest with his own brother. This is Set, Satan. And the three of them are looking surprisingly at what's called the mystical marriage of St. Catherine. This is a reincarnation of Isis, who is the mother forming her brother, her son, Osiris. This is Osiris, the Messiah, the Lion of Judah. This is all a wondrous painting, a conceit. Over here is St. Michael holding on to thunderbolts, which are a replacement for persimmon plants, a holy plant of Israel, which was replaced by the Europeans by the palm. This is all a replacement story, by the way, and this is St. George vanquishing the Lion of St. Mark. So what you're going to see next is a very wonderful overturning, an overturning of Europe. Europe now being overturned upside down, as God was turned upside down. It's all a balancing, once again, of powers, done by the archangels, the angels, Christ, who was Rubens, who painted that painting, and who was telling the world that the Europeans and the Western civilization in toto is going to be very surprised and amazed when it's going to be overturned and replaced, literally replaced, by Christ coming back as a thief, as Robin Hood. So now you'll see the courtesy calls. So where is God now, and what form does he take? Is he taking? Well, based on James Ensor's wonderful painting, The Temptations of St. Anthony, God is, from the cross-checking that I've made in the Psalms, is probably St. Anthony, an exile, marooned God, hated and despised by people, probably a drug addict or a cocaine addict. Let me read you and I'll show you what I'm talking about. First, from Psalms. God is talking here. There's no soundness in my flesh because of thine anger, neither is there any rest in my bones because of my sin. God is sin. God has gone through sinning, transgression, and his awakening, and his understanding and reflecting his own period of being under Satan's domination. For mine iniquities are gone over my head as a heavy burden. They are too heavy for me. My wounds stink and are corrupt because of my foolishness. I am troubled and bowed down greatly. I go mourning all day long. For my loins are filled with a loathsome disease, and there is no soundness in my flesh. My God, God may have AIDS or herpes or syphilis, but he's in this world, in some form, under Satan's domination. Once again, I am feeble and sore broken. I have roared by reason of the disquietness of my heart. Lord, all my desire is before me, and my groaning is not hid from me. My heart panteth, and my strength faileth me. As for the light of my eyes, it is also gone from me. My lovers and my friends stand aloof from my sore, and my kinsmen stand far off. So he is marooned and exiled by everyone, including his own people. And now here is the painting that backs it up. Here is God as St. Anthony reading the Bible, or perhaps his brother's version of the Bible after he screwed it up. Here's God's nose, red, bleeding. Perhaps he's an alcoholic, cocaine addict. His heart panteth, so his heart is speeding up. Here's his wife, his beautiful wife Isis, Osiris and Isis, with a lyre, singing to him perhaps, but keeping away from him because he's sick. He's sexually diseased, and he is a sick and old man. The people behind him, he's looking at them. They stand aloof from him. He is tempted. But there he is, God looking at his wife, who is waiting for him to be redeemed by his son, who painted this painting. Shabu.